Hey, beautiful people. I hope you are all taking care of yourselves. I know it's way early morning, and I decided I needed to share this message because, again, we are talking about the collective shadow, and I feel like we need to talk about this one right here. Okay. So I hope y'all are taking care of your minds, your hearts, and your whole being. Um, the reason why I feel this message is important is because again, we're leaving this era of bondage. We are leaving the era of slavery in all its form, and we are coming into a time where we are going to restoring what does authority power looks like, individual power looks like, what what does it look like and what does it feels like to have dominion upon self in a very healthier way. So I feel like I needed to come and share with you guys about this because I feel that when you start the healing process, you will have to let go of a lot of attachments. A lot of attachments, you're going to have to let go of these things. What do I mean by attachments? When we're talking about healing, a lot of people, or we were convinced through social constructs, that um, therapy is is a very effective way of healing. We were convinced that medication is a very effective way of healing. We were convinced that there are many external sources out of us that convinced us that, you know, conventional medicine is the way to go. Um, and I'm not here to say that it's not, okay? I do believe in a form of healing where, you know, there is support, where there is external support. I'm not saying that when you start your healing journey you should solely focus on, you know, what can you do, but I believe that it does start there before, before we start outsourcing, or, before we start relying fully on external sources when we are going through our healing journey. I truly feels that it starts with us first. Okay. Now, I am talking of experience here because I have been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. Okay, in 2020. Uh, do I rely on it when I present myself to the world? Absolutely not. Why? Because one of the beliefs that I had to let go of is the belief upon which that we are living in a healthy society, and therefore, if you have a mental disorder, it is, you are the only one to account for it. Okay, I had to let go of that belief because I do feel that we are not living in a fully balanced society. I feel that we've lived in bondage, in some form of slavery, whether it was through um, our mental slavery. So how our minds are constructed, how we view our mind, how we analyze information, how we use our mind for expansion. I do believe that we were, you know, in some form, shape of way, we were slaving ourselves mentally. Same physically. Same with emotions. How we were slaving ourselves into believing that, you know, we cannot fully be emotional healthy beings. There are a lot of beliefs around how we were slaving ourselves throughout this whole era of bondage. Now that we are coming into a space where we are, reclaiming our powers, we are taking back our powers, I do feel that it is as well part of our responsibility to fully redefine and to take that to take that power back in redefining what healing looks like. Okay, we were convinced that you absolutely need to go to see a therapist every other week or every week to feel better about yourself, to have a listening ear. We were convinced that you need pills when you have some form of disorder or some form of mental illness. And I don't believe that, I don't think that our society was built and was built upon freedom, freedom of being, freedom of expression. Because if it was so, there wouldn't be as many diagnoses as there is. There wouldn't be as many dissonance and illnesses. They have this whole DMS where you can find all types of illnesses, all types of mental conditions. So that to me is a reflection of how the society has been constructed. Okay, we want to give it so much credit, but if you are living in a society where there's mental illnesses for any form of mental dissonance with your mind, I feel that it is also a reflection of how sick or how mentally imbalanced this society really is. Okay, and I'm talking about it on a very global level. So as we are coming into redefining what healing looks like, I feel that for many of us that have been diagnosed with mental issues, okay, our mental issue, our mental issue is a form of defense mechanism. I strongly believe that is. And in that defense mechanism, because there were not enough support around us, our mind had to process things differently in order to for us to feel safe, in order for us to um to continue to live in the society. So our mind had to adjust with whatever was happening in our environment, and as a result created this dissonance, or created this way of expression where you will find that, let's say for instance, borderline personality disorder, because of abandonment issues, rejection issues, you will find that the type of individual that is experiencing that illness is going to have different mood swings, or is going to have different form of personality on a day span, on a weekly span. And that is, again, I think um, it's a form of defense mechanism. Now, I'm not an expert. I'm not a psychiatrist. I have not entirely dived into the field of what does the mind looks like, how is the mind working. I mean, I'm still learning, and I don't want to say that everything in the society that was built for the mentally ill is wrong. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that we need to give ourselves permission to redefine what healing looks like. And when I was diagnosed with that mental illness, a part of me because I was such in a low place in my life, wanted to rely on medicine, because I had no. So first of all, I was devastated with that news that I was mentally ill, or I had this mental condition. Second of all, because I was in a very low space, I couldn't. My perspective was more one of victimization than one of changing, or one of having a different perspective as to how I can heal myself. I was not there yet. So in me being in that space of, first of all, being devastated, and then asking myself, how am I going to heal myself? I had the strong belief that I needed medication. Okay. And so in that belief, I was also thinking that medication would heal me, right? Would bring me back into balance. And what I realized when I had these consultation with these different psychiatrists was, first of all, they were not recommending me. Um, they were not recommending me medication, and I was as well turning down medication because I did not know what would be the effects of medication, on me. So I was trying to find alternatives of how can I how can I deal with that illness or that condition in a way that is more healthier, that will have less effect on, other aspects of my life. Okay. So, and in dealing with that diagnosis, I started to really ask myself deeper questions as to why did I felt that, um, how am I going to live with this for the rest of my life? Because apparently, it takes 10 years for the symptoms to start slowly, dying out or to change. So again, I feel that we are living in a society that maintains people in accepting their conditions without really, providing them a wholesome solution to their problems. I feel that we are living, in a system where, because doctors needs to be paid, because obstetricians needs to be paid, because we need to justify the medical world, we have to create all these diagnoses, all these imbalance, all these illnesses, all these conditions, and all these medicines, so that, they are justified. We're living in this perfect world, but yet again, we have all these mental illnesses that are being, created every year in a book that is not, reducing in terms of types of illnesses. It is just, going in increase. So I feel like it's only increasing. So I feel like, we need to ask ourselves the deeper questions. How does, what does healing looks like? And I feel that for many of us, when we start relying on medicine to balance ourselves out, whether it's hormonally, whether it's mentally, whether it's a physical illness or mental illness, I feel that at some point we do not take the proper steps to even go deeper into our healing, because we have this belief that the medicine will compensate. So we don't necessarily need to heal. And what do I mean by that when I say healing? Okay. Especially when you have a mental illness. Now, there are some mental illnesses that needs to be very supervised, and that needs to be, you need to have a whole environment to thrive with specific mental illnesses. I don't know all of them. I don't know that many. But if we were to live in a society that helped people to heal, profoundly heal, there wouldn't be medicine, because medicine becomes then um, maintenance. It is not there to fully heal you. It's just there to tell you, listen, you can continue to have a normal life without ever really fully diving deeper into the deeper meaning of where did those symptoms came from, what type of childhood you had, what type of environment did you really grew up on, what type of treatment did you receive when you were a child. Those deeper questions are not really asked, because we are offering you a quick fast result. We are going to numb your emotions, or we are going to numb a part of you. And when you start relying on that numbness or that on that medication, you will not want to ask the deeper meanings, to even go deeper into your healing, and start deconstructing those patterns, those behaviors that are dating back to some childhood event or environment, or even inheritance. Okay. Because I feel that some mental illnesses, we say that it's genetically passed on, or whatever have you. I feel that if we are to deconstruct what's um the expansiveness of the mind, I do feel that we can recondition, and we can, reform what does, genetic transmitted information looks like. I do believe that we have, if we have full access to our mind, I do believe that we can mutate, we can change that, we can become greater than our genetic coding, if we only allow our minds to explore that. Okay, so I'm not going to dive deeper into that, but I do believe, I do feel that there is a lot of arrest development when it comes to healing through medication, because you're no longer trying to heal yourself. You're no longer trying to justify the bad habits, the patterns, the emotional responses. You're no longer actually trying to find a solution because a solution was offered to you. So, first of all, it's externally driven. A solution came to you that is some form of maintenance, right? And it becomes some form of handicap, because then you train your mind to believe that if I don't take my medication, my mood is going to change. I'm going to behave a certain way. I'm probably going to be irritable. I'm probably going to be extra sensitive. And then I'm going to, act, or my moods are going to change. And then it's going to impact my environment. And I don't want that because it's going to bring me a lot of guilt. So let me not go there. Let me stick to the medication so that I can continue to function in a certain form of way, but without ever healing, so that I can transform as at the very core of who I am, right? And the beliefs that I keep of myself. So that's a very important aspect that I feel that is not really touched upon in society. I think that we should have spaces where people that are mentally diagnosed with illnesses need to really fully step out of their environment, and are supported in a way where, yes, maybe some form of medication that is more medicinal, or that is more herbal, um, that is more natural. I feel that, it can be suggested in the beginning of, finding out that you have this mental illness, and then having step by step programs where the individual is now getting to the deeper layers of that mental illness, because that mental illness did just not start one day just like that. It was to a form, it was to some form of the mind adapting to a situation in most cases. And then you do have some form where, it was passed down through your genetics. But again, I do feel that a lot of mental illnesses in today's world, when you talk about, social anxiety, when you talk about borderline personality, when you talk about, forms of disorders that pertains to the mind, I feel that a lot of it stems from, childhood, having to grow in a certain environment that had your mind adjust to what it was seeing, experiencing, hearing, receiving as form of treatment. And as long as we are still in denial about these things, or we have not created those spaces for actual healing to take place, big pharma is going to continue to offer us medication for maintenance, right? Because you will become, you will form a new habit through the belief that medicine or medication is going to help you function, right? So you will be functioning, but you will not have had reached a level of healing where you recognize where those patterns are coming from. Why do you have such mood swings? What are your triggers? Where is it stemming from? Do you remember in your childhood, like all these deeper layers of, the illness? I think that it's, again, very surface level as to receiving medication, you know, um, guilt tripping into taking your medication on a daily basis so that you do not affect others. It's very much. fast food healing or fast food maintenance, just like for the rest of how society has been constructed, whether it's through education, whether it's through religion. So, healing, what does healing look like for you, right? And I do hope that we can come to a place where, when someone has a mental illness or is diagnosed with a mental illness, we're creating those spaces. Those spaces are being created so that, someone can really do the work of healing. I had to do a deep, deep layers of healing, because I was not convinced that, medication was going to be a solution for me. In me finding out that I had an illness, a mental illness or a mental disorder, had I stayed in that shock or in that emotion that, oh my God, I have this illness, what should I do? Like, okay, I'm gonna have to, I'm good because of my children, because of my family, I'm gonna have to medicate myself so that, I can function and be with them. But that is not the right thinking. That is hindering the actual healing process. Because again, we want to fit. We want to fit in. We want to be part of. We want to be acknowledged by amongst our peers. So we're going to take that medication. But I feel that in the initial instances of receiving a mental diagnosis, you should have the option of going down an alternative that is more healthy, that will allow or that will enable healing to really take place, or, having that alternative of, medication, and, continue to maintain, or having that maintenance of your illness instead of healing.